Fly by the sun. Ooh, yeah. Let's take that. That'll be kind of a freebie. And then now we get the mission to get science data from the surface of the moon. Really? Really, game? Really? Really? Uh-huh. So we're going to save the game here. We'll take a break in a moment. Let's go and spend some of our science. Actually, I think... No, I'm lying to you. I was going to say, I bet you I can unlock all the science that I can get without getting the next level of science. Because we can't... Oh, actually, we could even get all this. Never mind. So we are going to have to budget our science a little bit. And part of that is going to come from determining what our next mission will be. Now, if there's anything that unlocks a new science experiment, that will be very desirable. I don't know how many are left, though. The mobile processing lab is going to be really good if we decide to do a long-term mission like go to Duna. And that does lead to this science tech, which gives us the surface scanning module and the survey scanner. Survey scanner doesn't give us any more science, but the surface scanning module, I'm not sure that it does. More unmanned tech. Oh, electronics over here gives us the double C seismic accelerometer. So that's more science we can do from on the ground. And that might be worth bringing with us before we go to Duna. Assuming we go to Duna. We have a contract for Duna. We've been there already. I don't know, but we've got options, right? Probably we'll start to need the mainsail. The mainsail is the most powerful 2.5 meter engine. We've been using 1.25 parts, but once we've got that, then we'll be in a really good shape to send a much bigger vessel without quite the same awkward asparagus stationing. So I think we're going to want to get that. Need the bigger capsule. You're absolutely right. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, I mean, for nothing else, it'll look better to have the bigger capsule. In vanilla, you don't really need engineers for things, although they can repack parachutes, which we may use parachutes to land on Duna, so there's something to be said about that. We could also use the lander can, which is lighter than the command pod. We could just land with this. It's not really meant for re-entry quite as much. Crash tolerance is a hell of a lot lower. Look at this, 45 meters per second crash tolerance in the command pod versus 8. The bigger service bay, actually, we definitely want all that. So we're going to go and unlock that for sure. I'm definitely going to want the mainsail. We may need... I don't know if we need the Twitch engines. They are good and usual, though, just in general, I meant to say. So it might be a good investment. The advanced fuel systems, yeah, we need the big orange tanks, the Rockomax Jumbo 64s. Absolutely require that. That's a for sure. Then after that, what? Probably need to make sure we've got the big fairing over here. Yeah, I think we require that. After that, I'm not sure. Do we need any of the super advanced stuff? We don't need the Kerbadines. Atomic engines! I think atomic engines might be a really good investment for going to Duna. Yeah! Okay. So these are the... What's the next size? It's not... Is it like 3 1/4? 3.5 meters? These are all those parts, so we don't really need those right now. I don't think that's going to be part of our design scheme. The Mark II stack quad decoupler is very cool, but we don't need it. Oh, it's 3.75. So we don't need the 3.75 components. I don't think that's what we're going to go with. We don't need the advanced grabbing unit, although it's quite cool. We don't need the aerodynamics. I think we're quite comfortable without it. There is a new heat shield component you get somewhere, but I'm not sure where. That's the big heat shield. The LT2 landing struts are quite nice. Oh, that's the deployable heat shield. It's a 10-meter heat shield. It starts off small, and it deploys and expands out. And I think it also, like, yeah, re-entry and deceleration. It's very sort of parachutey. Might be the sort of thing to use coming in on Mars. Unfortunately, we don't have enough to reach there. We'll have 322 left. That would be 300, and we need to unlock something first. So we get 2 of the cheaper ones first. I think ladders. Oh, ladders and the lab. We need to get that. That leaves us 160. So what I'm going to do is grab the advanced electronics. This gives us the deployable solar panels, including the ones that can be deployed and retracted, which we'll need if we're doing any atmospheric work. So there we go. That's our science spent. I think that science pretty damn well spent. Yeah, we're not going to Mars. We're probably going to Duna, based on the fact that we have, I think, 2 missions, don't we? No, just explore Duna, although this is a huge mission. Orbit Duna, which is... We might deploy a satellite in orbit around Duna. Or we could do an Apollo-style mission, where we enter orbit and then drop a lander. Yeah, that heat shield's meant for aerobraking much more than re-entry. So the cheapest and easiest way to get to Duna is to aerobrake, which is to say, you aim at Duna, you aim at Mars, and it's got an atmosphere. So instead of like what we do with the moon, right? We sort of gain our aim periapsis to somewhere good, and then we burn retrograde there to get into an orbit around the moon. For Duna, you aim so that you're inside the atmosphere, and then you hit the atmosphere and use the atmosphere itself to slow you down. You can use the atmosphere to slow you down to help you get into orbit around Duna. You got to make sure not to go too low, or you will accidentally come in for a landing, which could be very bad. Or if you go too high, you might not burn enough over there. So actually using that as like figuring out the correct negative delta V that you're going to get from aerobraking is very tricksy. But if you're just going into a landing on Mars, that's entirely different. This is going to be a very complicated build. You know what I'm going to do before I do that? I'm going to complete one of these testing missions. This mission here is just to have a certain type of jet engine, and to be between 2 and 4 kilometers, and between a certain speed. It's relatively low speed, but that should be relatively easy to do. I'm going to complete this because I'm hoping it'll give us more Duna missions. You know, because it'd be nice to stack a few. So I'm going to take a break in a moment, but before we do, let's make a quick space plane. Yeah, come on, it's not rocket science. I have a plane. I guess it's just Untitled Spacecraft. That's a very good name over here. Just simple plane. But right now it's got the Juno engine. We can replace it with the Weasley turbofan engine, which is the one I actually need to test. And it still has liquid fuel, and it's got a air intake, so this should be perfectly fine. Hopefully our weight distribution didn't change. Our center of lift is just about on our center of mass, which is a little less than ideal. And since we have a moment in the editor, I can show you the new search, though. Check it out. You want solar panels? Type in solar. What? So good. What if you want, listen, I want you to show me all 1.5 meter parts, or 1.25 meter parts, that have something to do with fuel. Just say fuel tanks and engines. 1.25 meter parts that are fuelerific in some way. It's so good. It's so good. New little search. That's another mod. Don't need anymore. Type in orange tank. Can you do that? Oh, brilliant. Great. Oh, these extra keywords are brilliant. Orange tank. It's the orange tank. Parachute. Ah, so good. Very good addition to the base game. And yeah, they even did better than a lot of the mods can do because they added a bunch more keywords. I didn't know about the orange tank one, but they added a bunch more keywords so you can search in a bunch of different ways, which is really useful. Okay, so that's going to be our... Let's go and rename this Jet Plane 1. It's not particularly exciting, but it's not a particularly exciting plane. And so I'm just going to go ahead and launch this guy. Hopefully the mass hasn't gone back, that it tips on its butt. That would be bad. Also, I should have a pilot. Hold on. Revert flight. Because I need someone with SAS. Journey. There we go. I do miss the mod where you can rename the Kerbals, because it's really fun to do that. Go. So we have a mission. Oh, this... I should have upgraded the runway. Oh my god, taking off on this runway is very dangerous. Also, I didn't include any parachutes on here. Survive! Survive, Jordy! You're my last pilot! Alright, this plane worked really well when it had the old engine on. I think I might have taken off with a bit too much force. Let's recover what we've got. I should have called it the plane. Yeah, and yes, we do have to upgrade the runway. Let me see here. First of all, we can get a little bit more stability if I do move the center of lift a little further back. And, that might be all that's required here. That engine is just too potent. Let me go and upgrade the runway. There you go, a little bit smoother. The other thing, I'm going to add a safety feature to our plane design here. I'm going to go and throw in... Hello. I'm going to throw in a decoupler. That's not it. And... so, pair of parachutes, which are overkill for the amount of weight they're going to have to carry. but that way they can stop us very soon. Emergency button is I hit the space bar, and we just bail out of the plane. Well, we don't bail out of the plane. We bail the plane. Let me check the center of mass, center of lift. Center of lift might be too far back now. Alright, let's try that again. Smoother runway. Search for more in the U system? Oh, okay, I'll have to remember that when we plan our Duna mission. Oh my god. This plane. Alright, now that we're up to speed, now we've got our control surfaces are locking in a bit. Oh, I should have turned off, these ailerons are not supposed... Woo! Yeah, this engine's way too powerful. That's what's going on. Oh shit, yeah, that's really too potent. These things here are not supposed to be used for pitching up and down. They're just there for roll. Oh yeah, let's, so we have to get above 2 kilometers, which we have now. And did we hit the speed? Oh, yeah, we just completed the mission. Woo! Okay. Whoa! Yeah, we gotta redo some of these surface controls. They are crazy over responsive. All right, I'm gonna try to turn here in a way I'm not gonna exceed our prograde marker too much, because that's a recipe for disaster. And we'll see if we can come around and land this thing. Oh, it's nighttime. I should have waited until morning. Yeah, I want like no thrust, just token amount of thrust, just to say. But really nothing. Also, I should have updated this to use a retractable landing gear. This is obviously a very early design with some pretty primitive technology. Now, I can just bail at any given point and return Journey to land safely. But I'm going to try to land. I don't think I'll land at the landing thing, or maybe I will. I don't know. Let's kill the engine completely here. Just start falling out of the sky. You know, that is an interesting point. I wonder if I deployed both parachutes I guess I could just reorientate things. I could just try to pop the parachutes and see if they can land the plane safely as is. You know, without doing the bailout thing. But I'm going to try to come in for a landing of some kind. Now, the problem is, I used this crew capsule over here, because at the time, I only had this circular intake. Now I do have the radial ones, but this thing can only take an impact of, I think, 12 meters per second. The thing that actually looks like an airplane nose, that thing can take an impact at like 40 meters per second, which means it's a lot more resistant to actually accidentally bumping the nose on landing. So we have to be a little bit more cautious here. And honestly, the way the engine sticks out the back, I actually fully expect something's going to hit the ground as I come in for a landing. Oh well, what's the worst that could happen? Everyone could die. It's okay, there's more Kerbals where these guys come from. Nothing is infinite, except human stupidity and the amount of Kerbals available to join your astronaut program. So we're going to try to come in at this runway. Be nice if there was more lights at the runway. Yeah! That's what I want a mod for. Also, if no one updates Science Alert, like, I'm really tempted to go and make my own mod to, like, make my own version of Science Alert. Alright. How's that? See, if we were doing this during the day, we'd also be able to see our shadow on the ground, which would give us a better sense of what our altitude above the ground is. Although, yeah, it's mostly sea level there. You don't usually corner using the rudder like this. You mostly do this. Don't do it too much or we will stall. Don't want any airflow separation. And don't want to be pointing too far away from our own prograde. Sterns. Oh shit, we're coming down too fast. I don't think I've ever landed a plane at the runway. I just clicked some other flat part of the ground. All this area here is flat. In fact, when you're just starting out, your runway is so garbage that you're better off taking off the runway because the rest of the terrain is so much flatter. I think your actual runway starts off just beat up from like failed experiments in the past. I think we're going to fall short of the runway. I'm pretty sure that's true. Oh, we don't have enough forward. There we go. At this point, it's just a question of I didn't actually have any control over the plane as a result of... Yeah, we're going to land over here somewhere. That's fine. I totally meant to land over here. That's okay. Yeah, I meant it. Who needs a runway? Runways are for stupid people. Oh, and yeah, see, I'm losing control over my plane because I wasn't going fast enough. I stalled out. But there we go. And hit the brakes. This is actually a really smooth landing in the end. I want it to be over there, of course. Hold on. How do I point correctly here? There. I want it to be over there. But, hey! We didn't die. Alright. What was that? Oh, that was complete the mission. Do we get another cool one? I don't want to test that. Ooh, orbital station around Kerbal. Well, at some point. I mean, I'll take the contract, I suppose. Actually, that's interesting. Orbital station around Kerbal means it's got to have... Oh, it needs a viewing cupola. Well, we're not going to work on that. We'll probably go to Duna. We're going to accidentally finish this Flyby the Sun mission, which might give us more missions at the same time. Alright. I think that's good. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to see if we can build something that can land on Duna, while also putting something in orbit around Duna. Either we will enter orbit first and then drop down with a lander, or what we'll do is we'll separate off a satellite that won't need very much Delta V to be inserted into an orbit successfully, and then what we will do is we will just aero brake down with the core ship. And ideally come home. We don't want to pull Matt Damon, but we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, that's what we're going to try. Thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you guys in a couple of minutes.